Okay, so we don't have too much people today, so it might go a little faster, but who knows? All right. So for introductions, we'll just do name and then I know last week we had like trouble with like talking about media, so um we could do we'll just talk about like the article or book that we read and if you watched any English media, then you can tell us if you recommend it or not. So let's start with let's see, Chanuli.
I'm Chanuli, and I didn't watch English media.
Okay, did you read any article or book?
Uh, I like to talk about Priyanka Chopra. Uh, I found some information about her. Uh, Priyanka Chopra is an Indian actor, producer, and a singer. Uh, she is one of the highly paid actresses, uh, and she has worked with UNICEF, and she is the she she is the Miss World of she is the Miss World of 2000, and she is now 40 years old, and her husband is Nick Jonas, and she has one brother. His name is Siddharth Chopra, and she she is promoting children's rights and girls' education, and I really like it.
All right, thank you for sharing. Let's see. How about Sitika? Would you like to go? You just say your name and then an article or book you read last week, and then if you watched an English media, if you could share that with us. If not, Tisan or Yasuru, would you like to go?
Hello, teacher.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Tisan.
I am teacher. I read the article about mobile phone. Mobile phone is most valuable device in the world now. Uh, uh, it is created by Graham Bell. Uh, it helped to develop mobile phone till now. Almost every houses and every people have a mobile phone. It is essential thing for most of our work. A mobile phone makes our work easy. Uh, it helps us to do our work easily, and phones never feel tired because it is a machine. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. And did you watch any like English media at all? Or if it's okay if you do. Can we get one more person? Oh, right. Can I get one more person to share? 'Cause we only had two people so far.
Hi, my name is Isrika, and I read a book named No Turning Back. It's a detective story. Mm, mm, Anna's daughter, Anna's grandma, and Jimmy are the main characters of this book. Mm, is it enough?
Yeah, and what's like, I don't know, what's a highlight of that book, or why do you like that book?
Um, uh, I don't know, but I like it.
Yeah, is it the genre that you like, the mystery genre?
Sorry.
Do you like the genre of the book? Like, you said it was a mystery book, right?
Uh, um, uh, not, uh, uh, no.
All right, you're just trying new stuff out. That's cool too. Okay. Um, so we're gonna go over like Greek and Latin roots today. But first I want to cover like the history of English before we get into that. So like English first originated from the Celtic people, and then you can see like we have a lot of influence, or to like make modern English, we have a lot of influences from the Romans, the Saxons, Vikings, and the Normans, um, and Norman French as well, which like I guess is different from from the regular French. But uh, we also have from most of our like words are pulled from Latin, Greek, French, and Italian, or most of our roots. So we'll talk about Greek roots first. I'm going to cover mostly Greek and Latin because those are we have a lot of words like this. The stuff I'll cover today isn't even like most of it. There's I can send you guys a PDF, but there is oh my gosh, like about 9 pages of like just the Greek and Latin roots that they cover in English. So I'll go over like the more popular ones that you'll see, I guess, uh, in more common English words. But yeah, they just know that there's a lot more. And then there's also roots that we pull from both French and Italian, but I won't be covering those today. We'll just focus on Latin and Greek. Um, but I think it's just like cool to like know how the English language is formed. Okay, so we'll start with the Greek roots first. And so what I'll do is I'll like go over the root and the meaning, and then I have some example English words. So you guys can like give me some more examples. But if you can't come up with any, that's okay. I'm like it'll be hard to do that. So we'll start with air first, and the meaning is just air or atmosphere. And so in English, we can see that it translates to words that relate with the meaning air or atmosphere, like aeronautics. Um, as you can see, we have like the root of air right here. So can someone give me one more example of an English word with the Greek root air? Just think of words that are related to like air or atmosphere. And also remember that there's like when it comes to this, there's also uh it branched out, modern English branched out. So we have now British English and American English, and yeah. Anyway, sorry, back to what we were on. So words with the Greek root arrow. I think that's the British spelling. Is it? Let me double check. Sorry. Yeah, so that is the British spelling of it. So that's goes back to what I was saying about the American versus British. But we have in British English it can be spelled as aeroplane, and that's true, it does have the Greek root air in it. And there's also like aerobics. Let's move on to arc or archeo. So that just means of primitive or of or ancient or of ancient origin, I guess. So one example we have is archaic. Can someone think of something else? There's a certain field of study that kind of relates to this, that relates to this.
Architecture.
Uh, I think I was more looking for something else, but I don't think. Yes, archaeology. That's what I was looking for. Just copy and paste. I don't want to spell it out. Okay, archaeology. And I'll double check if the architecture is a part of it, but I don't think that it would count. All right, moving on to auto. So auto is self. So like for example, autobiography. Does anyone have another example of the word auto? So we have like stuff like automobile, right? Because remember before, like people were more reliant on like, oh, sorry, I have stuff in chat. Yes, autograph, autoimmune. Thank you. Sorry, I should check that more. Autograph, autoimmune. Yep, perfect. All right, so we have biblio, which is related to books or about books. So we have bibliography. Um, I know in Spanish, I think library is like biblioteca or something like that. I need to double check. Yeah. So Spanish also has some Greek derivations from it, but anyways, bibliography. This is actually kind of this is a little harder because there's not a lot of words with the root biblio. There's like biblio in the chat. Bibliophile, yeah, that's what I was gonna use. Okay, bibliophile. All right. Now bio means in relation to life, and you can see that some words combine Greek roots together. So we've got auto and bio. Um, as you can see, we both used that in an example here. But bio just means related to life. So and I think that's kind of cool because like it's like self and
Biology.
life. Yeah, biology, which is a study of life. So logy is just like the study of. That's why you see that a lot in so biography. If you guys come up with any other words, you can just put it in the chat. All right, and we also have chron, which means or which is like related to time. So for example, like um chronology, or like if something is if you're like watching a series in a chronological order. We also have oh, let me check. Chronological, yes. Chronological. So those are um same words. All right. Now we have cosm and cosmo, which is just in like relation to a world. So like we have microcosm, Also like cosmic. Okay, we'll move on from these roots because we have like a bunch more to cover. Um, okay. So, oops, there you go. There's dem, which is in relation to people. So for example, demographics or democracy. So like when you talk about demographics, you're talking about like, you know, uh I guess like the observation of like people, and um I guess like the classifying of them. And with democracy, um it heavily focuses on like people interacting with the government. So, um, do you have any other examples for words with them? You guys can put it in the chat too if you don't want to speak. This one's like a little harder, but another one is like epidemic. Now, derma is skin. Also, I should probably, well, I mean, it's too late now, but okay. Um, so just put one example. But so we have derma, which is skin, or like related to skin. So we have like dermatologists and then hypodermic. Like I think hypodermic allergies is something I've heard of. I'll just double check. Hypo. So do you have any other words with the word derma? Yes. If not, we can move on. And then if you guys come up with any other examples, while we're going through this, then we'll go back to it. So another one is or ethno, which is just in relation to nation or race. So for example, um, ethnicity. I feel like I skipped. There should have been dermatitis. So I'll go back to our derma. All right. I'm just gonna keep moving through it since we have a lot to cover. But if you guys come up with any other examples, we'll add them on. So we have geo, which is like in relation to Earth. So for example, geography or geology. So like geology, study of rocks or Earth, and then um geography, like which it could be the study of like land, but also like you like when you study maps and stuff. I guess like knowing the study of like countries and things. So yeah. And then we have gen, which is in relation to family or race. So for example, genealogy or genetic. And then gram, which is related to writing. So that's why we have like words like grammar and grammatical, which both have like the root word gram in it. And these are both related to writing. And then we have hemo, which is related to blood. So we have like hemophilia, hemorrhage, hemoglobin. I think, am I spelling that right? Hope. Yeah. That's it. These are like all things that are related to blood. So like when someone has actually a hemorrhage is like internal bleeding, right? I think it is. Yes. Okay. We also have Hiero, which is related, which is something that's sacred or holy. So, for example, we have hieroglyphics, hierarchy. So these are just like words that are derived from the Greek meaning. And then we have hydra, or hydro, which is all related to water. So, for example, hydrate or hydraulic. I'm sure you guys have heard of like a hydraulic press before. It's all yeah, it's all related to water. If you guys have any examples, just feel free to put that in the chat. All right. Next is idea, which is yeah, just related to an idea. So, for example, ideology or ideologue. Yes, idealects. All right, and if you guys come up with any other examples, like after we've moved on from the Greek roots, we can go back to it. Or after we've moved on from like the specific slide, I guess. So I remember we talked about this in a previous slide, but logy is just like related to study or the study of or speech. So for example, logic, dialogue, um, and we also like biology, remember the study of life. Do we have any more examples?
Monologue.
Mhm. Monologue. Uh, we also have meter or yeah, meter, which is just a measure of something. So for example, diameter or thermometer. Metric. We also have micro. Micro is just related to something that's small. So for example, microscope, microcosm. Um, if you guys come up, actually, let's come up with, I feel like
Microorganisms.
yeah, like microorganisms. Hmm. So we also have like microbiology, which is like a subsection of biology. Microbiology. There's a ton of stuff that we can come up um, for the word micro. We also have ono or onim, which is just related to name. Um, for example, anonymous, which is like when you don't have a name, and then onomatopoeia. Um, we have phil, which is just means love or loving. So philanthropic or philanthropy. Those are all these are both like, acts of giving or which is um, like a form of loving. So and oopsie,
Teacher.
yes.
Philosopher is right.
Yeah, philosophy. I had a space. Get rid of this. Yep. All right. We are on fob now, which is just it means related to fear. So for example, we have like phobia. So anything with like so we have arachnophobia, and there's a ton of phobias out there. I know there's the one for the little holes, which is like trypophobia. And then I forgot there's one that was like fear of the ocean. Anyways, there's like a ton of phobias that we could use as examples for this one. But just know that when you see the uh, Philadelphia, Philadelphia wouldn't count. That's just the name of a place. But it does have it does have like the word Phil in it, but Philadelphia is just like it's just a place in the US. All right, let's see. Phon is in relation to sound. So for example, phonetic or telephone.
Microphone.
Exactly. Microphone. All right, how about photo or phos? That's just in relation to light. So for example, photograph or phosphorus. There's also like a process that plants do. Yes, Asuri?
How does phosphorus relate to as in light?
Uh, I don't know.
Photo-
Okay.
Photosynthesis makes sense.
Yeah,
Light.
photosynthesis was the example I was looking for, but let me search up. Um, okay, so phosphorus ignites spontaneously in the air and glows in the dark. So it does have some relation to light, which is I'm assuming is why they named it that.
Oh,
Because it's a combustible. So
thanks, teacher.
yes. All right. And we also have new, which is just air or breath. So we have like words like pneumonia or pneumatic. The P is silent, but it's in relation to air or breath. So with I almost said pneumonia, pneumonia, we have it's it's where like mucus gathers in your lungs. So it's in relation to our breath or air. We also have polis, which is just related to city, so metropolis or cosmopolitan. We also have roots like psych or psyche, which is just related to mind or spirit. So, for example, psychology or psychic. Do we have any examples for this one?
Psycho.
Yeah, like a psychopath. Am I spelling it right? I don't know. Oh wait, psycho, yeah. Psychopath. Yeah. All right, there's pyre, which is related to fire. So we have a pyromaniac, pyrogen. Think oh, what's in the chat? Pyrexia. I have not heard that word before. Give me 1 second. I'm curious of what the definition is. Pyrexia. Oh, okay. So pyrexia is raised body temperature or fever. So yeah, that is in relation to fire. Cool, that's a new word. I've not heard that one before. So pyrexia or pyromaniac, pyrogen, pyrexia. I think pyrotechnics, right? Yeah. So we also have techno, which is just the art or a skill. So for example, architect or technique, which is these are both words related to like an art or a skill, right? So do we have any other?
Technology.
Mhm.
Technical.
Yep, technical. Right, it has the root tech, but not the technology. but I've seen a couple where that's the case, so it's fine. Like with Cosmo turning into cosmic. So another root is the or theo, which is just in relation to a god. So we have theology, which is like the study of religions, which is related to God. And then apotheosize as well. Theology. Can't really think of too much words for this one.
Theory.
I don't. It does have the same root. Some. Put that on. I can see why it would be like somewhat related. But okay, well, I think theory is actually a root of theo. So, or a word derived from theo. So yes, thank you for that example. All right, we'll move on to Latin roots now. Sorry, I need to make more space for this. So we have a Latin root. It's gonna work the same as the Greek root. So I'll just give you a Latin root, the meaning of the Latin root, and then the English like derivation of that. So we have acer, acid, or aceri, which is just means bitter or sour. So for example, acerbic or acidic. And then we have agri, which is related to field or country. So for example, agriculture or agribusiness. And do we have any examples for these words? Or the ones that we covered so far? If not, we can just so we also have alb, which is just means white. So for example, albino, alabaster. Remember there's one more. There was one more word. I think it was you know how like the the like the color of the North Pole, that whiteness like kind of reflects the sun off and it helps like cool the earth down because it doesn't absorb the heat. What was the name for that word? I think it was like related to alb though. Anyways,
Albedo.
albedo. Yes, I think that was it, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Albedo. All right. We also have amic, which is just related to friendly. So amicable or inimical. Sorry. So that's all related to friendly. And then we have odd, which is just hear, related to like hear or sound. So for example, audible, um, ideology, and even just
Audition.
audio. Sorry, could you say that one more time?
Audition.
Audition?
I think she said audition.
Oh, audition. Okay. Let's see. So, all right, we have Bon, which is in the chat audience. Good job, you guys. All right, we have Bon, which is related to good. So Bonzana or bonus. We have sed or ses, which is means to just go or yield. For example, a recession or recede. Says also have feminine, which is related to women. So that's why we have words like feminine, feminism. The feminine, sorry, root goes back to the Latin. I think that's pretty cool. How all of this connects back to this, ancient language. Okay, we also have flect or flex, which is just means bend. So for example, reflect, which is just a, bending light, I guess, back. And then flexible. Right. If we have any other examples you guys want to mention for these, we could do that. I can go back to this slide. And let me, sorry, kind of like underestimated the space this would take. Okay. So the next root is folly, which is just related to leaf or leaves. So we have like words like foliage or defoliant. And fract, which is to break. So we have fracture or fractal. Follicle, hair follicle. I don't know if that, because the spelling is also okay. So this actually has a second definition. So it's not just like the hair follicle. It can also mean um it's also a term in botany. So it does have some relation to leaf. But it I don't know. I want to say that this might be like its own it might have its own root, but I'm not like completely sure. So I'll put that in like parentheses or just this is like not this is like barely just touching, this is a tip of the iceberg of like Latin roots especially. We've got a ton that come from it. So fract, we already covered that with the fracture. Fractal, it's a break. So lat is just broad or wide. So we're talking about like latitude or lateral. I was talking about something that's broad or wide. Yes, fraction. Fraction's a great example. All right, we have like longest, which is just means long. Oh, sorry, I think we skipped lingo. So lingo is just related to language. So for example, bilingual linguistics, like a ton from like, trilingual. Sorry, trilingual. And then we have longest, which is just means long. So for example, longevity, longitude. So if that's where we get our latitude and longitude from. So linguini. Yes, linguini actually does count because it is a long wait, where's that one? Longest. Linguini. That's just a
I
pasta.
thought it was word from Ratatouille.
Latitude, longest. I mean,
Right.
it is a long pasta, but I don't think it's from, and plus I'm pretty sure it's not English. You just take it from Italy. All right.
Uh,
Um, magnificent. It's funny though. I like that word. All right. We also have magnum, which is just related to great or large, so magnificent, magnitude. And then we have mar, which is just related to sea. So for example, maritime, marine. Magnify for large. Magnify. All right, maritime, marine. So when they're talking about marine animals, just like know that it's related to sea. I don't know. And we have mer, which is related to amazement or wonder. So for example, miraculous or mirage. And then we have mit or miss, which is related to send or cast. So remit or dismiss. And we have mut. So mut is just to change. So for example, mutate. Um, let's try to come up with one more example for this. But we have mutate. It would be a part of this. So remit, dismiss, admit. Trying to think of
Amy?
another word. Admit, yeah. Can't really come up with another word for mutate other than like mutation, but I guess that's like basically it's the thing. Mutilate, like to cut something, mutilate something. All right. These are our last Latin roots. And there's more, by the way. I know I've said that like multiple times, but this isn't like I'm not covering like all the roots. We have a bunch more. I think I don't know if I saved the I don't think I saved it. That's okay. We'll go through this a little fast so we have time for the monologue practice because I want to hear your guys' responses for that. All right. So I will go through this just a little faster, but like you're still like feel free to give examples though in the chat. So for not, it's that's just in relation to sailor. So for example, nautical or nautilus. And nomen, the Latin root nomen is related to name. So for example, yeah, the word name or nominate. We also have not, which is note or paper. For example, notable or noted. We also have uh phenomenon or I'm sorry, I can like could you say that one more time?
Phenomenon?
Do you mean like phenomenon or something similar?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I don't know if that would count as um a nomen root or a word derived from nomen. I know pheno, I think that might be a Greek root, but I'll double check on that word. Um, thank you for saying it though. So we have port, which is to carry or to bear. So for example, portal or transport, all related to stuff that carry. Um, we also have pel or pulse, which is just to drive or push. So for example, dispel or repulse. Um, and then we have rupt, which is to break, so rupture or interrupt. We also have sed, which is related to sit. So for example, reside or sediment. And we have, and also if you guys don't know, if you guys don't know like the meaning of any of these words, just tell me and I'll give you like a meaning in the, I'll just give you a meaning of it. And then we have sol, which is related to comfort or so for example, consolation or solace. Mhm. Yeah, so pheno, going back to the phenomenal, okay, yeah, so it does have connections back to Greek roots. So it comes from like pheno, which is shining, or to show. So I guess like something that's phenomenal, I guess would be impressive. I know that it says in, yeah, you see it a lot apparently in American English more than you do British. But anyways, that's pretty cool. I think Sol in Greek is related to the sun, right? Anyways, I'm sorry for getting you guys distracted. I just want to make sure. Yeah, like okay, yeah. So in I this is Latin, but in Greek, I know like there's the sun god is Sol. Or is that Latin? Yeah. I know okay, it looks like in Latin this is also related to sun. So it's fun fact. All right. Let's move on to our monologue practice, even though we only have like 5 minutes. So I added 3 questions, so you can choose from a prompt, I guess. And then for the first one, we have what do you think will be ridiculous in 10 years that is like currently popular? And then 2, is it possible for good to exist without evil? And then 3, what is the most terrible punishment you could ever think of? And also, when you answer this question, don't be too like gross. Like try to keep it PG-13 for number 3. All right. I'll give you like some time to think about it. And you can answer any of these prompts. And if we don't get to cover a question, I might move some of these over to next week then. I mean, I think these are pretty good questions.
I would like to answer about the first prompt.
The first prompt?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think will be ridiculous in 10 years that is currently quite popular?
Mhm.
It would either be smartphones or with the way that we learn now or TikTok. Either one of those three. Because like it's quite popular now in TikTok as it is, but
Mhm.
I think it would be phased out as like we used to phase out very popular stuff back then from like search engines that we used to use. So I would think that TikTok and a lot of social media sometimes might get phased out because either everything will be automated that would make us have a lot of time on our hands, we would just waste it, or the latter. The TikTok would be get phased out and then we would do it. And the second thing I would think would be ridiculous in 10 years is that's quite popular right now is probably smartphones, because
I actually want to hear your reasoning for that. What do
smartphones
you
because
smartphones?
that at the rate that we are developing, we are condensing everything as small as we can get. So
Mhm.
now there's AR glasses and stuff, and there might be a future that where brain implants would be viable and cheap enough so that they can continue producing them.
I don't know. I
So
don't know if
but there will be some people who would not actually get brain implants, but still 10 years
I
10
feel like
years might
it's
happen.
too short for that to happen. Maybe further down the line, but I don't know. I don't see smartphones going away too soon, you know? I feel like we
Yeah,
really
that could
rely on them
also
like
happen.
but that's good reasoning. I know that we are definitely going more into like wearable tech.
But I would be bold to say that Like
It's a
normal TV would just phase out. Normal TV, just
Oh
everything
yeah,
would be
like
satellite or
live
like
TV.
kind of internet. Like not live TV would just be phased out because people can't enjoy what they want, and probably Netflix will
Yeah,
take over
yeah,
those
that's what I'm
avenues.
thinking too. I agree. I know like I mean, you have to pay subscriptions for like literally everything these days. So yes, I'm not surprised if live TV will phase out. And you said smartphones too, right? Sorry, I'll write that down. Um,
Thank you for listening, teacher.
yes, thank you for sharing. You always have something interesting to say. All right, we have other questions. Does anyone want to take a shot at it? Is it possible for good to exist without evil, or what is the most terrible punishment you could ever think of? Or if you want to talk about number one. Well, I mean, actually, we're anyways out of time. I didn't see that. But okay, I will add these problems to next week's slide then, and I'll add an extra one just in case like you guys get stuck on these. All right, homework is just to read one article or book and then again have as much English conversations as possible. And I think next week, do you guys want to try like writing? Is that like if you guys could bring like a paper and a pencil or something, and then we could like practice like writing or
Says or something else.
I don't know. I don't
No.
would you guys be okay with that? Or maybe if I like did like a shared Google Doc so we could all like practice writing on it together or something? I don't
I
know. What is
wouldn't really mind.
something that you guys are like comfortable with? Because with the Google Doc I can make it so that you guys don't have to like sign in or anything to like edit.
Oh, you're telling me we have to get the note beforehand and then complete it while we're in the class or something?
Uh, no. I mean, like, I'll give you like a prompt in class, and then you guys like can write it out either like on a Google Doc or on paper, and then like read it out, I guess, or something like that.
I
I don't know.
honestly wouldn't mind. I just want other people's opinions.
Yeah, I just want you guys because I don't want to like do something that you guys, But if you, I don't know, if you guys are open to that, we could try it out because I know that we've mostly just been focusing on a lot of speech and like grammar stuff, which is like it's good. And like I know like a lot of that connects to writing, but we haven't actually like put that into practice, So I was just thinking that maybe we could try that out next week. But anyways, I also added this little media list and I'll keep adding to it. If you guys find any good YouTube channels that you guys want to share, um, like it doesn't have to be from TV. And like I think our YouTube list should probably be like the larger one, but if you guys have any more channels that you would like to share, uh just go ahead and like um tell us during introductions. Um so yeah, just read one article or book, but then I really want to push watching some form of English media where we have like English people talking to each other or like having some conversation or just talking to the screen even. Just to kind of I guess get used to the language because I know like most oh, something in the chat. He is a little controversial, but I mean, yes, he does speak in English, so if you guys want. Um, so yeah. Okay, that was it for today's class.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.